Hey, what's up, guys? So I got matched up with Shoey, and I'll give you guys a quick look at how Shoey is looking with his stats. He's just about 1.9 total collection power, 3.8 strongest team power, and the total collection power is a concern, but not nearly as much as his STP. And so I'm getting close to 90 mil and 3.4 mil STP. So let's take a look at my defense, guys. And the only real change I made is I'm trying out Wolverine with X23 in room 3. Hopefully to try to get a little more damage, or to get some damage, because I don't know that yesterday this team did anything offensively. And it's a slow team for the most part. It looks like Jubilee is not going to outspeed them up any. But, you know, Infinity Watch in 1 was a little bit of trouble for my opponent. And definitely Rogue Extreme in 2 is still pretty fierce. Going with the Quicksilver BO in 4, Spider Society in 5, and Out of Time in 6. So let's take a look at what my opponent has on defense. My opponent has some really big teams, as we can imagine. And a real concern is room 1, because his Tangle Web is really, really big. Along with, you know, a huge Gambit, 2 diamonds on Black Knight. And so we'll see how this goes. I've got a couple ideas about this room. And his Pegasus is big, almost 3 mil. He's got the 3 diamond Kestrel. He's got Extreme with New Aura in 3. And so I'm not as concerned about that, even though it's 3.1. I think we've seen enough guys have success in there, so I'm not that worried. But I am a little worried about what he has in room 4. His Black Order is just really a big Black Order. I mean, I'm thinking this is all G18 level 100. And so I'm going to have to really take some time to learn how to try to counter this room with New Warriors. I'm not sure I want to go in on this particular Blackwater Quicksilver with my New Warriors, because this may be a slight punch up. And so not too concerned with his Infinity Watch. I'm a little concerned with his Secret Defenders team. You know, they're really big, but not as much as room 1. So what I'm thinking about going in with is either for room 1 Superior 6 with APOC, because that will be the go-to. The only thing is, this team is so big, it does concern me, and so I'm leaning towards the Cabal. And Zoboy Fresh, he has a video on this, so I kind of watched it and I'm leaning towards that. So he used APOC with Vulture on this particular team. Now, I think his punch up was similar because this would be pretty huge. I think he did a 400-500K punch up. But the thing is this team is just so much bigger. And so I'm thinking of how it might scale because of the diamonds on there. But at any rate, so we'll move on. And then, so I'm going to go with Bifrost in 2. And I think this was one I saw by Jex to use my scroll, because I don't really have a use for him anywhere else. So go into here with Masters of Evil with Echo and Scroll, and that should make this room really easy to beat. I like Pat's idea on adding a power tune to New Warriors. So I'm going to go into room 4 with Weaver and New Warriors. Room 5 will be Secret Defenders and Kestrel, and room 6 will be Superior 6. So as you can see, I did stream yesterday, so we're going to just go in and look at this from the replay standpoint. You can see the type of damage that was taken from this, I don't know what you would call it. Is it, I guess it's Unlimited Tangle Web. But Black Knight is really huge. So I just want you guys to see how this goes. So you're gonna see Vulture go into Black Knight and barely do any damage. And look how much damage was done to Vulture from the retaliation. And so I have a strong Namor, and he really helps out. Sets things up, and then you can just see the power of APOC with Cabal. Room 2 is, I think you guys have seen this enough, and it's really just a replay, so I'm not going to run it. But what I wanted you to take a look at is I have a 2-diamond G18 level 100 Sylvie, and still she's in the yellow. So Sylvie really takes a lot of damage. If you don't have your Sylvie built to if you're gonna try to use this as a counter, you might want to make sure you have her built up. And even if you have her on defense, you might want to have her built up a little bit more than what's necessary for the raids. And so this is the one I was interested in. As you can see, I ended up taking Absorb Man to G18, and that was helpful. But this team was surprisingly, well, I shouldn't say surprisingly, this team just came out and did a lot of damage. You can see the diamonds. You got 2 diamonds on everybody and a 3 diamond on Nightcrawler. And so having Scroll maybe wasn't necessary to win the fight, but definitely to have some decent efficiency, because it's pretty good efficiency, he was needed. So let's just take a look and see how this goes. And so I went in on Forge with the special, and that has a lot to do with New War being stealth. But this team is just moving so fast, it doesn't matter. So to get a chance to come in with the basic now, you can see the setup for the damage that's being done. Look at Nightcrawler. Now this was a 3-diamond Nightcrawler, and after this barrage, even after he heals, he's still in the yellow. He's hitting super hard. If it weren't for this room, the buffs that Massive Evil gets, I think I'd be in trouble. Now the mistake I made is taking out Sunspot. And so you can see how the guys are going to heal up. And that's something I got to be more conscious of. And Elp Dog brought that up. Fortunately, I had Scroll. And so you can see the ult right there really set things up. And all that's left now is Nightcrawler. And you can imagine that with Scroll and Kang, he's going to get done in. So room 4 was really tricky, and later on that evening, Sham walked Updog through how to beat the Black Order with Quicksilver with straight New Warriors. Now it was a smaller version. I think it was still big. I think it was around 2 mil or 2.1, 2.2 mil. So the technique is what's important. And as you can see, I'm working my cloak up to 18. I went ahead and took him to 17. And I'm just going to make it a project, get him to 18, because what I'm starting to see is that guys that have all G18 New Warriors aren't really faced with the same issues. And so their New Warriors are still just able to just go in and wreck in Cosmic Crucible. And so unfortunately, it looks like to keep them relevant, they're going to all need to be G18. Since my Dazzler is G16, I just was like, I'm just going in with the Weaver. And then you can see how this plays out, but I lost 3 of them. So this was really, really close. So I lead in on Quicksilver. And, well, actually, I think I started on Proxima. And that's because she's just so fast and she can stun somebody. You don't want to stun the wrong person. And so that's, I think, the best play is to make sure you hit her going in. And then after that, I tried to spread things out, and what it looks like is somehow I ignited Cole, and then I just got stuck behind him because he's massive. He's G18 level 100, and that made it harder to get to Quicksilver. And so there you see the whole team, well, except for Maw, they go into stealth. Fortunately, and it took a while, Weaver got to blind them, and so that shielded me from Maw. So his health steal would have really done a lot of damage. And you can see how Cole is just coming in and retaliating every time. So the only real person to worry about at this point was Quicksilver. And you can see the damage that he put in. He set up the snap for Thanos. And before you know it, I'm down to 2 tunes. And you can see where the health is on Deathpool. Fortunately for me, Deathpool was able to go in and kill Quicksilver. And once, she starts doing her killing, then she starts to heal up. So that helped. And so Proxima had to be next because she was low. And I think the way this plays out, I was able to get to Cole, pretty quickly. So I was tempted to back out of this, but I said, well, if nothing else, kill Quicksilver and then you can try to clean this up. And just as that was happening, Weaver did Weaver things. And so here, I'll let this play just because it's not as big a punch down as some of the other times when I've gone with SD. But it's a big help to have Kestrel in just to kind of make the efficiency a little bit better. The thing that was a concern is I didn't expect the score to be at 8360, which is a little bit lower than what I hoped, and so that just helps me to see the scaling power of Infinity Watch, even with Secret Defenders going in and it's a punch down. So my strategy is going on Moondragon to try to keep her from healing up the team, and I just let this play out. I'm not sure if this time I went after Phyla next or Gamora, but it just kind of depends. I think Gamora is the more dangerous target to take out after I take out Moondragon. So I just want you guys to see how that plays out. And you can see the amount of damage that was still taken by Kestrel. She's 2 diamond. And by Hardlight, that's 1 diamond. But it is an option. And 8360 is still a very solid score if you happen to have these to use. Instead of, I think what's turning out to be is taking a chance on Eternals and the chance they could be blinded when we're looking at room 5, or that is Icarus, that is. And so I know you guys have seen this plenty of times. I'm going to run it just because he has such a massive team period in here. I mean, Morgan is big and Dorm is big, and you can see the 3 diamonds on Hardlight and Robbie. So that made this a fight to be cautious of. And as you see the score, 8365, it still plays out relatively the same. So you can see the punch up range where you can be comfortable. And this is 400K. I'm not saying they can't do much bigger because obviously you see how they kind of walk through this team here. But at the end of the day, there's still a range. And so it's important to keep in mind to build your attack teams, at least your six that you're going to rely on the most. But I would say eight, if you're going to try to stay competitive in Cosmic Crucible. And they're going to have to go high. They're going to have to go as high as the game will allow us in order to compete and climb the ranks. So now let's look at my opponent. Now he went into room one with the Eternals Undying, and I've seen this before, so I guess guys are going with the idea of Eternals Undying, and I'm not really sure why they're leaning towards this. I mean, you can see he's got a huge Juggernaut. At 2 diamonds, and he's probably G18 level 100, he still gets deleted by Infinity Watch. And this is actually a punch down. It's not a huge punch down, it's 100K. And so I guess it's just a safe way of going in because you know the outcome is kind of like Secret Defenders. You know you're gonna win. But what I'm getting at is it makes me wonder because do we keep pushing Infinity Watch even higher and higher because they're just able to put in work? I don't know that we need to really see how this plays out, but because of the size of his Juggernaut, let's just take a look and see how it goes. Okay, so he's got Juggernaut in the middle, and I mean he does this all the time, but I like the idea of Juggernaut on the end, and I kind of stack Juggernaut in Iron Man. So I'm not sure, but you can see how Gamora is hitting the middle, and then I suppose if I were gonna take that approach, you could put Iron Man in the middle, and then at least he will keep reviving. So that's a thought as well. So I'm not quite sure. I guess this is just what he's used to. Why he had him in the middle there, just because he died, or maybe he didn't expect him to die, because it did set up a lot of damage for Icarus to come in with his ult. Well, it's very surgical. He's moving through it with pretty much a sense of ease. Oh, he almost lost Hela. So Juggernaut lasted to the end, though. Just one lucky hit, and I guess that's how he got. Oh, he was alive. I thought he was actually dead. I'm not sure if we've seen this before, where a straight hive mind has come in and beat the rogue stream. I mean, maybe you guys have. I thought I've seen it with Scroll, but not without. So let's just see how this goes. And so quite naturally, he has a 3 mil hive mind, so they're able to take some of this damage from the early beginning. It's still, he looks like he's about to lose his Void Knight, even so. Did he miss? I don't even know what he did there. He did lose, he got him back, but he did lose his Void Knight. So this is interesting because this is just RNG, because had Red Goblin been taken out, this would have gone a totally different way. So in room 3, this is 8367. I'm not going to show this because clearly he went in with a very strong Superior 6 with Vulture, and I'm just looking at the score. He's perfect health. He's a 22 turn bonus. We can imagine how this plays out. My only hope was that my team, my X-Men, could drag down the efficiency some, but they didn't. So I think I'm going to go back to Cyclops over Wolverine just because of that. And here, we're looking at a massive punch down. He's got the all G18 New Warriors, and my team is no match for this, just off the sheer size, 8370. So we can imagine how this went, and why my focus now is to try to get Cloak and Dagger to G18, because then you can just pretty much just run him like he's doing here. Now this is where he got held up, and this is, as you can imagine, is where I win the game. But what I'd like you guys to see is just how sneaky a team this is in room 5. Now, my thought is, because you do see Skrull here, he maybe was planning to go in with Skrull on room 5 and decided to try this room first. The question that I would have is his selection of tunes. Now, he put Echo in. He's got a strong Echo. He's got 1 diamond on her, so I don't see any problem with using her. I just don't understand why he had Ultron in here. So let's just see how this plays out, because he's got a strong Ultron, so maybe Ultron can make a difference. Okay, and he's got Ultron in the middle, so he's used Ultron. Well, that's different. Now they're retaliating and they're hitting Titania, and they didn't touch Ultron. Yeah, he's got a strong Masters of Evil, but you can see how my Spider Society is just really just shrugging it off. And I think Pav, and I gotta check, one of them might be 4 stars now, it might be Pav, but Peggy is 3 stars, so she's 3 red. Now she is G18 level 100, but I just want you to think about that. She's a 3 red, and she's just holding up against this massive Masters of Evil, and this is not the raid room. So this is a tanky team, and as they scale, they're gonna just be more and more of a problem. Wow. Now that was Gwen just came in and just wiped them out. Yeah, this is a long fight too. So maybe he wanted Ultron for the speed up, which I could see that, because he's not hitting hard, but his bots are bringing in the buffs that they will bring, the different buffs they will bring the entire team, and I can see that giving him a chance to win. This team is just really holding on. Yeah, my team, and they're strong to the end. Now this is where, yeah, he's obviously is making his stance. He's just coming in with the basic from Kang, and that goes to show you how strong Kang's basic is, because he can come in and just wipe out tunes. But Noir is a hard hitter now, and so takes him out. So I think it was the right idea coming in with Echo, and perhaps Ultron was the better play, but just Masters of Evil is not beating this team in room 5. And so he uses Cabal with APOC and Doom, and he's got an 8371 against my out of time, and so he wrecked him. I don't know that. I think we can imagine how this plays out, but we might as well watch it to see. He's got a G19 APOC, 841K, 3 diamonds. So this is gonna be interesting just to see the power of this APOC. Look at that. Just immediately wrecks my team. Of course, oh, how did my Black Knight survive? Oh, they're just falling apart. Yeah, Doom doesn't even go. I guess he's just a compliment to the team. So here's the score, guys. And this was a really good win for me because it's been a long time since I've punched up on a guy this size. I think it's been seasons and seasons ago where, you know, I've done like a 20 mil punch up. And so that's a good sign that I can do that going forward with knowing I'm gonna have G19s that I'll be facing. So we'll see who I get matched up with, because now it's down to these two guys, which I can't say the one of their names. And even though the guy from Rockets Alliance is like 92 mil, so we're very close, he's still got that 3.8 mil STP, and that makes him very similar to Shoey, who I just battled. And you know, he's gonna have a super strong offense, or he could turtle extremely hard. And I think he's found a balance just because of his score, because he only dropped, well, he dropped 2 attacks. So we'll see. Maybe he is turtling pretty hard. And here is probably more, when you look at the STP, in my range. Now, he's a punch down, but once again, you know, I'm not as concerned with the collection power, because even at this stage, we're looking at guys using a third to 40% of their roster in Cosmic Crucible at best, and probably a third is being pretty generous. But either way, both of these guys are going to come with their challenges, and you know, clearly it's going to be one of them. But the guy from the Rockets is probably going to be more like the Shoey, and so we'll just have to see which way he's leaning towards, heavy offense or heavy defense. Okay, guys, chat later.